Hello everyone, welcome to this video lecture of Geotechnical Engineering. This is Sukamal Ghosh, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department, Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management, JIS Group. So till now we have discussed 5 cases related to Rankine's lateral earth pressure theory. The case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4 and case 6. Now in these 5 cases, one parameter is common, that is the soil backfill is made of same type of soil, means the property of the soil is same throughout the backfill. But in case 5 we will discuss how to calculate the lateral earth pressure if the property of the soil is different in the same backfill. So let's discuss. So what was our case 5? The case 5 is the backfill contains 2 different type of soil mass. Okay, so the backfill contains 2 different soil masses. Okay, so let me consider a retaining structure. This is the retaining structure, which is essentially a sheet pile. This is the retaining structure. Okay, the height of this retaining structure is h. Okay, and let me consider it is containing a backfill. Okay, now from the top up to h1 depth it is containing one type of soil, and after h1 depth it is containing another type of soil. Okay, so basically there are 2 types of soil. Okay, this is the soil 1 and this is soil 2. Okay, so let me consider the unit weight of the soil 1 is gamma 1. Okay, and the angle of shearing resistance for the soil 1 is phi 1, and the coefficient of active earth pressure for the soil 1 is Ka1. Okay, and in the same way for soil 2 the unit weight is gamma 2, the angle of shearing resistance is phi 2, and the coefficient of active earth pressure is Ka2. Okay, see, till now whatever cases we have discussed, for all the cases the soil was not different, but in this particular case there are 2 different types of soil, and that is why the properties of this different kind of soils are different. And we know 2 different kind of soil have 2 different unit weight, 2 different kind of soil have different angle of internal friction, and also we have discussed in our very first lecture of lateral earth pressure theories that depends upon the soil, the value of coefficient of earth pressure, means the value of Ka or Kp or K0 varies, right? So now let us consider the soil 1 or the first layer of soil. You can see here the depth of this first layer or the soil 1 is h1 and the unit weight is gamma 1. It means the effective stress of the soil layer 1 will be sigma bar 1 is equals to gamma 1 into h1, and that is why the active earth pressure of the layer 1 will be Ka1 into sigma bar 1, which is equals to Ka1 into gamma 1 into H1. Okay, so let me draw the pressure distribution diagram for the layer 1. So this is the pressure distribution diagram for the layer 1. Okay, so this is the value, that is Pa1, which is equals to Ka1 into gamma 1 into H1. Okay, now the soil 1 or the first layer will act as a surcharge on the second layer or the soil 2. Okay, and the weight of the surcharge or the value of the surcharge will be the same as the effective stress of soil layer 1. Okay, so what I want to mean, soil 1 or the first layer will act as a surcharge on the soil 2. Okay, and what will be the value of this surcharge? It will be this sigma bar 1, that is gamma 1 into H1. Okay, so let me write it freshly. So in layer 1, okay, layer 1 or you can say soil 1, the effective stress sigma bar 1 was gamma 1 into H1, right? See, this H1 is the height and gamma 1 is the unit weight. So the active earth pressure will be Ka1 into sigma bar 1 is equals to Ka1 into gamma 1 into H1. Okay, now the layer 1 or the soil 1 will act as a surcharge, right, on the soil 2 or the layer 2. Okay, and the value of the surcharge will be sigma 1 bar. Okay, it means the value of the surcharge will be gamma 1 into H1. Okay, so now if you want to consider the layer 2 or the soil 2, so in layer 2 or the soil 2, for surcharge, the active earth pressure will be Pa2, and which is equals to Ka2 into sigma bar 1, okay, which is equals to Ka2 into gamma 1 into H1. Okay, it means here due to the surcharge, which is uniform, a pressure will act, and this is the pressure distribution diagram for the surcharge, which is equals to Pa2, which is nothing but equal to K2 into gamma 1 into H1, right? Now here is a twist. There can be two cases. Okay, maybe the phi 1 is greater than the phi 2, or phi 2 may be greater than the phi 1. Okay, now for these two different cases, the pressure distribution diagram will be different. Okay, so let me discuss. See, this is the retaining structure. Okay, this is the soil layer 1, this is soil layer 2, this is soil layer 1, and this is soil layer 2. Okay, now this is the pressure distribution diagram for soil layer 1, and this value is Pa1, which is equals to K1 into gamma 1 into H1. Okay, and since this first soil layer is acting as a surcharge, due to surcharge the Pa2 is acting, which is equals to Ka2 gamma 1 into H1. Okay, now if the phi 1 is greater than the phi 2, then the Ka1 will be greater than the Ka2, because in the very first lecture we have discussed that the coefficient of active earth pressure and the coefficient of passive earth pressure depends upon the angle of shearing resistance or the angle of internal friction. So we know that Ka is equals to 1 minus sin phi divided by 1 plus sin phi. So if the value of this phi is higher, then the value of this coefficient of active earth pressure will be higher. So if the phi 1 is greater than the phi 2, then this value means the Pa1 will be greater than Pa2. Okay, now if the Pa1 is greater than Pa2, means if the phi 1 is greater than the phi 2, then this pressure distribution diagram will be like this. Okay, let me rub it. Okay, so this is the case if phi 1 is greater than phi 2. Okay, now suppose if the phi 2 is greater than phi 1, then obviously this Ka2 will be greater than the Ka1, and if the Ka2 is greater than Ka1, then the Pa2 will be greater than Pa1. Now if this Pa2 is greater than Pa1, then let me rub it first. The pressure distribution diagram for this case will be, see, this is the pressure distribution diagram for the first layer, that is Pa1, and if the Pa2 is greater than the Pa1, then it will be greater than Pa1. Okay, so this is Pa2. Okay, this is Pa2 also. So this is the case if phi 2 is greater than phi 1. Okay, so you may understand that if the different kind of soils are there, then depending upon the angle of internal friction or angle of shearing resistance, the pressure distribution diagram will vary. Okay, now depending upon the value of angle of internal friction, we need to draw the pressure distribution diagram. Okay, so in this case, suppose, means let me consider that phi 1 is greater than phi 2. Okay, so in this case, this pressure distribution diagram will be like this. Okay, this Pa2 is equals to Ka2 gamma 1 H1. Okay, and let me rub it. Okay, so keep in mind that in this particular case we have considered that phi 1 is greater than phi 2. Okay, so now we have already calculated the active earth pressure due to the first layer and the active earth pressure due to the uniform surcharge. Now we need to calculate the active earth pressure due to the second layer. For the second layer also, the pressure distribution diagram will be a triangle. Okay, and for this particular case, the effective stress will be gamma 2 into H2, right? And that is why the Pa3, this value will be Pa3 it will be equals to the Ka2 into sigma 2 bar, which is equals to Ka2 into gamma 2 into H2. Okay, so this will be Ka2 gamma 2 into H2. Okay, so let me write it here. For layer 2, the effective stress will be gamma 2 into H2, and that is why Pa2 will be equals to K2 into this sigma 2 bar, which is equals to gamma 2 into H2. Okay. So the total active earth pressure is Pa, which is equals to Pa1 plus Pa2 plus Pa3. Okay. So our Pa1 was K1 into gamma 1 into H1. The Pa2 was K2 into gamma 1 into H1, and our Pa3, sorry, this will be Pa3. Okay, K2 into gamma 2 into H2. Okay, so this is the value of total active earth pressure for our case 5. Okay, so our calculation of total active earth pressure is done. Now we need to calculate the total resultant active earth pressure force. Okay, so now our motto is to calculate the total resultant active earth pressure force. Okay, now for this particular pressure distribution diagram, the resultant active earth pressure force will act here. Okay, and suppose this is Fa1 and this height is suppose Y1. Okay, now for this particular pressure distribution diagram, the active earth pressure force or the resultant active earth pressure force, that is Fa2, will act at a depth of Y2. Okay, and for this particular pressure distribution diagram, the active earth pressure force, that is Fa3, will act at a depth of Y3. Okay, and this Y1, Y2 and Y3 values are, see, this Y1 will be H2 plus H1 by 3, right? Up to this portion it is H2 and this portion will be H1 by 3, right? This Y2 will be H2 by 2 and this Y3 will be the H2 by 3. Okay, so let me write it here. Y1 will be H2 plus H1 by 3, Y2 will be H2 by 2 and Y3 will be H3 by 3. Okay, so now we need to calculate the values of Fa1, Fa2 and Fa3. Okay, so this will be the area of this particular pressure distribution diagram, right? So the height of this triangle is H1, the base width is Pa1. Okay, so it is half into height is H1 and the base width is Pa1, which will equal to half into H1 into Ka1 gamma 1 H1. So if you simplify it, you will have half into Ka1 gamma 1 into H1 square. For Fa2, see, we need to calculate the area of this rectangular pressure distribution diagram. Okay, So it will be H2 into the base width, that is Pa2. So if you solve it, you will have H2 into Ka2 into gamma 1 into H1. So if you solve it, you will have Ka2 gamma 1 H1 H2. Okay, and what will be the value of this F3? This F3 will be the area of this triangle, okay, and the height of this triangle is H2 and the base width is Pa3, which is equals to K2 into gamma 2 into H2. So it will be half into H2 into Pa3, which will equal to half into H2 into K2 into gamma 2 into H2. Okay, so it will be equals to half into Ka2 gamma 2 into H2 square. Okay, so what will be the value of total resultant active earth pressure force? Total resultant active earth pressure force will be Fa is equals to Fa1 plus Fa2 plus Fa3. Now the value of Fa1, we derived that half into gamma 1 into K1 into H1 square, right? The value of Fa2, we have derived that Ka2 into gamma 1 into H1 into H2, and the value of this Fa3 we have calculated just that half into Ka2 gamma 2 H2 square. Okay, so this is the value of total resultant active earth pressure force. And this total resultant active earth pressure force is effective at a depth of y bar from the base of retaining structure. Okay, where y bar can be given by Fa1 y1 plus Fa2 y2 plus Fa3 y3 whole divided by Fa1 plus Fa2 plus Fa3. Okay, so this is it for today. In our next lecture, we will solve a numerical problem based on Rankine's lateral earth pressure theory, and I will try to select a problem for you which may cover all the cases that we have discussed for the Rankine's theory of lateral earth pressure. Till then, stay safe and stay happy. Thank you.